Hello my friends, and welcome to your Mission Compass. This is my final fall Halloween style video for October of 2022, and it's going to be kind of a hodgepodge of different things. We've got a few different places we're going to explore today. I'm going to try and show you some of the fall colors. We're going to check out a few cemeteries and see what the oldest headstones are that we can find. Now, before I really get started with today's video, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the fact that my channel is now monetized, or at least some of you do. And one of the things that comes along with that is the ability to pick and choose what ads you guys see and when they appear. And one of the things I absolutely cannot stand is being bombarded with politics. And because of that, I've decided not to show any political commercials on my channel. If you guys see that, please reach out to me, let me know about it. Now, there's something that I've been wanting to try that a lot of the other vloggers on YouTube have been trying out and talking about in their videos. Adam the Woo, for example, just did a video on it that I watched today. So I thought that I would share it with you guys, and here it is. Yes, that's right. We went to Burger King and got one of the Ghost Pepper Whoppers. We're gonna try it out. All right, guys, here it is. We're gonna give it a shot, see how it tastes. I don't know, I've been hearing from quite a few people it's spicy, and wow, check this out. If you guys can see that, that bun is super orange, and it's got little black sesame seeds on it. The inside looks like it's got maybe some crunchy deep fried jalapenos in there, and there's bacon, and I believe the cheese is ghost pepper. So here we go, let's give it a shot. It's got a little kick to it, not a whole lot, not as much as I thought. It's a little dry, could use some sort of sauce or something. The crunchiness of those fried jalapenos and the bacon and the cheese, not bad, but a little dry. It is tasty, I'd buy it again. I just think it needs like some mayo or something on it, and there's nothing like that on here. It just seems like cheese, maybe two types of cheese. Looks like there's American on the top, and then they sandwich the bacon and the fried jalapenos in there, and then a slice of that orange colored ghost pepper cheese, and then the burger. But no sauce of any kind, so it is a little dry. Still tasty. All right, so the Ghost Whopper, Burger King's take on Halloween. I mean, it's a restaurant, what are they gonna do? They made an orange burger. Pretty decent, a little spicy, not as spicy as I thought it was gonna be, but very dry. And I thought about it, and after eating it, you know what would be good on that is some sriracha mayo. It would add a little spice to it and keep it from being so dry. Now we're gonna head over to a different area in this cemetery, which borders a park in Howell, Michigan here. And on that border are some of the oldest gravestones that I know of. So let's head over there and take a look. All right, guys, over on this area of the cemetery, I was just about to walk to the other side of the road here, and I noticed this old tombstone here. So I wanted to come over and take a look. And this one here, I can't quite make everything out on here. The first name, I think, is Fred, and the last name might be Lake. And looks like Fred died August 23rd, maybe 1877, 23 years old. And of course some newer ones next to it. And just like I said, over on the other side here, right next to the park, in fact there's some swings over there, some people playing on the swings, is an older area of the cemetery. And this particular area, unfortunately, has been damaged so many times. And they've tried repairing these tombstones. It doesn't look like too many of them are intact anymore. So we'll see what we can see here. I do know there are some very old ones, and I believe there was one at one point in time that dated back to the 1700s. We've got this one here. David was the first name, and he passed in 1848. 64 years old, which back then was about the normal life expectancy, maybe even a bit old. And we've got one here, and I cannot quite make out the bottom of that, but it looks like it might say 1812. I'm not sure. And this was Charles. This one here looks like it might be 1855, and this was Abel Hyde. That next one's been damaged beyond repair. This one we can't really make anything out on, and the same with this one here. This one here has been damaged quite a bit as well. It's unfortunate. I believe a lot of these were damaged by vandals, unfortunately. We've got one down here. Let's see if we can't clear this off and take a look. This one's very hard to make out in the daylight. I'm hoping that maybe in video I'll be able to see this a little bit better, but can't quite make out the year. I can see the word died, and it looks like M-A-Y 11th. And I can't quite make out the year. Over here we've got another one, and again I cannot make out the year on this, but obviously a little bit older. I almost feel like these that were laid down flat at one point in time are in a little bit better shape than the ones that got busted off and left. Now this one being so big right here is in pretty good shape because it's a little bit stronger. It just says Kate and Charlie, and then underneath it says Willie. And this side says Ann, but I do not see a date on here anywhere. This one right here, Joseph, Mary, and Charles Pinckney, and that makes me wonder if it's any relation to the town of Pinckney. I don't know for sure. And again down here, several damaged beyond repair. I remember coming back to this cemetery many years ago, and you know, there were a few that were damaged, but not this many. It's kind of sad what's happened over the years. And we've got one here. I can't quite make this out. This looks like May 4th, 1856. And I can't make out the full name, but it starts with a J-A-M, so it's probably Jameson or something to that nature. And this one, I can't make out the top portion. Underneath it says mother and sister. We will not forget you. And over here, this one just says mother in the middle. Don't see a name on it anywhere. And then next to it, a couple more that are damaged beyond repair. And I just noticed this definitely newer stone right here. It says unknown resident from former Barnard Street Cemetery. So this may have been somebody that was moved from one area to this area, which I find rather interesting. I did not know there was a Barnard Street Cemetery, which I think is just a few blocks from here. Now there are quite a few unique mausoleums and tombstones in this particular cemetery. We're going to take a look at some of those in just a moment. A couple of them are located right on the lake, which is just down this road we were at. And this area is what I was talking about here. And the area that we're walking on is actually a road. A lot of people just use it to walk. They don't realize that it is a road that you can drive on. It's a one-way road around the cemetery. And these signs that are right here prove that, because they say no parking at any time. Check out these built into the hillside here. Not necessarily older, but rather unique the way it's got different levels of hills here. Makes me wonder how they cut this. I've never actually seen them do it, so I don't know. It's just kind of unique. Seems like it'd be quite the challenge to try and cut these hills. I mean, look at this one here. It just pretty much drops straight off here down to the ground. And we've got some unique ones coming up here. There's a area that's kind of built into the hill, like a mausoleum of sorts. And we'll see that in just a moment. Wanted to take a moment and pause on this one right here. And this was a sergeant from the U.S. Army in World War II, born in 1912 and died in 92. And they do have a whole section in this cemetery dedicated to vets, and they decorate it on Veterans Day as well as 4th of July with flags. Now this right here is one of the ones I was talking about. It's actually built into the hillside and starting to fall apart a little bit. You see some cracks in the stonework along the sides here. It's got this door. It looks like the door used to just be an iron door at one point in time, and they added the wood at some point later. And behind it, I don't know if you guys can see in there, there is a actual vault door of sorts and a window. You can kind of make something out just past there. Well, I kind of wish I had brought my phone so I could use the light from the phone to light this area up and see better. I'll have to try and do it in post-editing. But if you look, there's a window, and you can kind of see something behind the window there. All right, well, I hope this isn't too windy. I do have the windscreen on the mic today. But we were getting ready to leave, and I just found some older stones here. Thought I'd come over and take a look at them. I've never seen these before. and I can't quite make this one out. It looks like it could say 1760, either 8 or 9. Can't quite tell on this one. Got another older one that says Emily next to it. Can't really see the top. Looks like it's been kind of buried behind it there. And this one here, Henry Wheeler, and he died in 1811. There are a few others back this way. I'm going to see if there's anything that's older here. We have one over here, 1887, on this one right here. A couple here that don't really say anything, just says father. And then we have this one here. And this is an interesting name. I've never heard this before. It says Elietta. Never heard that name before. Wife of somebody. I can't read the bottom. It's a little kind of mossy and everything. Looks like it says West or something like that. Weston maybe? Not quite sure. But I don't see a date on this one. Very old though. This one right here says 1865. And back here a couple more from the 18s, 1869. This one over here has been knocked down and I cannot quite make out. Oh, 1880. I did not realize this older area existed. There are some older tombstones over here. This one, unfortunately, looks like it's been ground out. You can't read anything on it. No names, no dates, nothing. That's unfortunate. And over here, a couple older ones. Looks like it says 1865 and 1872 on this one. And that one is completely demolished. Can't quite make this one out either. This one right here in very good shape, actually. 1870. G.W. Neeland. That's in nice shape. And next to it, it looks like is his wife. And it says 1892. And it looks like they abbreviated his name, and his name was Geo, or that's short for George. I wonder if the W is Washington. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? G.W. Neeland. And we've got one more over here. This one says 1845 Joseph Sexton. Well, as you can see, guys, the fall colors are in full swing everywhere you look. The colors are definitely changing. In fact, a lot of the trees have already lost their leaves. But we're going to take a little drive, see if we can't find at least one more cemetery that's got some older grave markers, and take a look at the fall colors along the way. Well guys, just a few miles northwest of the last cemetery, we found this one. It's called the Sanford Cemetery, and it's kind of off into the country a little bit, but there's some older grave markers here. We're gonna see how far back these date. This one here says Hannah and goes all the way back to 1870. And this one here says Algameda, wife of E.D. Crawford, 1893. Got some smaller ones down here on the ground, and then over here, can't quite make this one out. It's pretty well deteriorated. We've got two of them here. Let's see if I can make this one out. Unfortunately, no. Well, the writing on the last two is a little bit hard to read, but this one here, Betsy, says 1868, and the one right next to it is 1869, and this one right here, Josiah Faluner, says 1850, aged 75 years, which is pretty good for back in that day. Right next to it, can't quite make out much on here other than the name Hannah, and the date though is 1850. And another one here also in the 1850s, can't quite make out the last digit on there. I see 185 and then can't read the last part. This one over here says 1861. And this one right here, Nathaniel Davenport, 1853. This one right here looks pretty old, but I cannot read a date on here, unfortunately. This one here, Michael Fisher, 1853. Now this one here is hard to make out other than the name Esther and February 22nd, 1856, but I noticed right in the middle it says blood. I'm wondering what that is about. Really no idea. And over here, this may be one of the oldest we've seen so far. First name Reuben, died 1847. And this one here also 1840s, but cannot quite make out that last number. And this was Ezra. And over here, Ziba in 1852. Now there's just something about this particular one that seems to have that Halloween cemetery look to it. I think it's because all of the lettering has darkened and it's very easy to read. And it says Esther Barlow, born April 4th, 1809, died September 22nd, 1889, aged, can't quite make that out, 80 years maybe, but it's much easier to read than the others, and it almost looks like it was filled in the letters, but I'm sure that's not the case. It's just aged that way. This one over here, G.O.R. Millard, died in 1874. A little hard to read this one. Must have been a popular name or popular way to abbreviate George. What I found interesting is that this particular tombstone faces the trees here. There's only like a 2.5 foot area between to see the tombstone, and that's the same case with some of these others over here. Let's see what we've got here. This one says 1855. George W. Andrews. And next to it, Nancy, his wife, cannot quite make out the year on this one. It's 18 something. And this one here says John J. Barlow. And it looks like he was a colonel in the 3rd Michigan Cavalry. And this one here is from 1864. This is Josephine. And right next to that last one is Jane. And the date on this one is 1855. And this one right here says Stephen Head, died 1846. Right next to it, John Ferguson, died 1862. Over here, Charles Porter, who died in 1861. This one here says Ezra Sanford, 1844. And over here, Sarah Hillman, wife of Ezra Sanford, 1855. Over here, Lauren McKendry, died in 1852. Down here, Elizabeth Houghton Lane, 1899. And over here, Luther Houghton, 1852. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this strange mix of a video that I put together this week. I thought I'd try and do something that was festive, fun, and appropriate for the time of the year. I meant no disrespect to anyone, which is one of the reasons I focused on older grave markers, just simply wanting to showcase how old and unique and intricate some of those older grave markers are. Now guys, I have one question to ask you. What type of videos would you like to see in November and into December? Are there any places you'd like to see me cover? Any events, any holiday specials, or things like that? Let me know by leaving a comment on this video. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am wearing a Munsters shirt today. It finally arrived. I've been waiting several weeks for it, but it showed up this week and I had to wear it for this video. You guys all have a very happy Halloween. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to click on that compass so you can stay subscribed to future videos just like this one. And remember, adventure is just a short drive away.